Hi guys, Materim here again with the third and final battle report from the tournament that I went to this past weekend. This battle will be Ogre Kingdoms versus Lizardmen at a 3,000 point pitch battle. Uh, those of you who saw my last battle report may be surprised to know that I am still on table 2. Um, I'm fighting again one of the more serious tournament players here, and he does have another very hard list for me to deal with. Um, as I said, this is a pitch battle. There's a few extra victory point conditions. You get extra points for each of your 3 smallest units you kept alive. You get points for each of your opponent's 3 smallest units that you destroyed, and well, something else. I don't quite remember. I didn't win any of them. We'll go ahead and get started with the Lizardmen deployment and just jump right in. Okay, so up front he has 7 chameleon skinks. Then he has a unit of 10 skinks with javelin and spear. There he has a Scarvet on a cold one with a great weapon and the armor of destiny. Then he's got another unit of 10 skinks. Behind that he has an ancient stegodon with sharpened horns, a normal stegodon with sharpened horns, and the white one there is another ancient stegodon with sharpened horns. You can see his Slan there behind it, and he has a channeling staff, harmonic convergence. He's also ethereal, and is the BSB and the general. And right in front of that is an old blood on a cold one with glittering scales and talisman of preservation. Then you've got a salamander with and then another unit of 10 skinks. Behind that is a big unit of 39 Saurus warriors with full command and spears. Next to that is a salamander pack with an extra handler. And then way on the far side he has another unit of skinks. Behind each of those salamanders he has a skink priest, level 2 beast with a dispel scroll, and another skink priest level 1 heavens with a cube of darkness. So here's my deployment. I have a Saber Tusk, my Iron Blaster, group of 3 Yetis in front of that. I have my Iron Guts, 11 of them with all my characters in it. Then I have my Stonehorn, my unit of 8 Bulls with my level 2 Butcher, another Saber Tusk, and my 6 Lead Belchers hiding out in the forest. And then protecting my far side, I have my unit of 2 Mournfang and 1 last Saber Tusk there in the corner. Now, for the purposes of this, it's very important to remember that my Saber Tusk, or my Mournfang, has the Banner of Eternal Flame, because he's going to basically run his cowboy up with the 2-up save Defier to hold them up pretty much the whole game. Alright, so I get the first turn and the first mistake. I went ahead and charged my Saber Tusk into these chameleon skinks, hoping that they would have the same luck that the last Lizardman player I had did, and I'd be able to get in there and get rid of them. Needless to say, they shot him dead with poison attacks, so that was not only the Saber Tusk dead, but that was one of the bonus objectives for killing one of my 3 smallest units. And then everything else I just moved up really aggressively. I know how annoying those skinks can be moving around, so I just wanted to get him bottled up as fast as possible and just hit hard. I figure the less room he has to maneuver, the more likely he is to make a mistake. And if I can get the Iron Guts in there to capitalize on any mistake, I feel like I've got a decent chance of winning this. And so here you see my Saber Tusk is up here, and I ended up taking the whole back rank off of those skinks with my Lead Belchers, which is pretty good, except for the fact that I rolled like 31 attacks with the Lead Belchers and only scored 5 hits. And I did wound with all 5 of them, but it was still just a little ridiculous. Over here he charges, so we go to Lizardman 2, or Lizardman 1. He charges his cowboy into the Yetis, and yeah, they're in trouble. But I figure the Yetis have had a good run in this tournament up to this point. And who knows? I was figuring maybe I could get one wound on him and get the half points. So I wasn't giving up hope on them right then. And then he skirts his skinks around. He wants the communion skinks to come deal with the cannon. Those other skinks he's going to try and bring over into the side of the iron guts so that he can start picking off iron guts before I can get into them. It's probably worthwhile at this point to note that my player, although he is a serious tournament player, he'd never played ogres before, so he really didn't know what to expect. And up here, he brought up his other skinks to chaff in front of the Stonehorn and the Iron Guts, so that I would waste a charge on one or potentially even both of those, and he'd be able to countercharge with the Stegodons. Which I was not really looking forward to. That's a lot of impact hits. I need to get the charge on at least one of those. I can take probably two sets, but not both. Or not all three. And then over here, he moves the other skinks to kill my other saber tusks. Or my other saber tusk. At this point, I really should have just run the saber tusks away and hid them in the back, hoping to save those points. But I'm an ogre player. I don't like running. And ultimately, it was a stupid decision not to in this case. But frankly, I wasn't. I was paying more attention to the center of the board, and that was my bad. And of course, he brings over the depleted unit of skinks into the side of my saber tusk. Again, he wants to kill that and get all of those scenario points. And again, at this point, we've been playing all day. I was exhausted, and well, I wasn't thinking straight, at least on that point. So I made the mistake. I should have just kept them all three in the back and saved those points. And then, of course, he brings up his one salamander unit up front, so he's going to start blasting stuff. And then those Saurish just start slowly lumbering forward. He doesn't want to overcommit them. He wants to make sure that Sabertusk gets dead before he gets into my lines too much, because he wants to be the one charging my ogres, not the other way around. And I can completely respect that. Now here is where he made his mistake. He moved up one of the two Stegodons, or one of the three Stegodons, and left the other two back. This is exactly what I needed. Because, like I said, the Iron Guts have a lot of wounds. I can take impact hits from two, not three. So this gives me the opportunity to hit those skinks, overrun into the Stegodon. I'll get impact hits against it, and then he might countercharge, but I've narrowed things down. The Chameleon Skinks, during shooting, ends up putting 3 wounds on the Iron Blaster, which is pretty freaking amazing. But it was, I guess it was to be expected. The Iron Blaster had been pretty damn near unkillable for the entire tournament up to this point, so he probably deserved to take a few poison hits. And he did get 2 more hits, or 2 hits with the other skinks onto the Iron Guts. But again, I've got a lot of wounds to soak through. My only concern is that he'll take away too many from shooting and magic, which I didn't think his magic did much of anything. I think I countered him pretty good this time. But the idea is if he takes too many wounds away before I take those 2 Stegodons in the face, I'm going to be in trouble. So shooting here, yeah, the skinks easily vaporize my poor Sabertusk. And over here, he vaporized the other Sabertusk on my right flank, and in that way got all 3 of the extra victory point conditions. He ended up doing a single wound, or 2 wounds maybe, to the lead belchers here with his salamander. Unfortunately, because it was fire, any wounds at all made them panic, so they broke and... Well, they didn't break. They panicked and ran for the back edge of the board, which was not what I was looking for. I was really hoping they'd be able to thin down those Saurus warriors, or maybe even take care of that other unit of skinks and get me some bonus points. But yeah. So he ends up doing, I think, 1 wound on these ogres with the other salamander, but I ended up holding strong, and no need to panic there. And then in shooting here, the blowpipes from the Stegodon he moved up managed to finish off that one ogre that had been wounded and put a wound on a second. So I really need to get them in combat super fast and stop them from taking those wounds, or I'm not going to be able to handle those three dinosaurs. And I gotta show love for my Yetis again. They didn't do anything to his cowboy there, but they hold out like nothing else. He only does 2 wounds to him, so they're gonna hold there for a little while and force him to beat them to death, I think, next turn. Okay, so on my next turn with the ogres, I ended up attempting a charge in with the ogre bulls, and I failed it, and I end up right where you see me now, which was bad, because I wasn't. I don't know. At least this way, I guess it's one less round of beating that the ogres are going to take at the hands of the Saurus. So because he'll have to charge me next turn and do some pain there. So maybe that'll turn out all right. Um, Over here, I move up these Mornfang, forgetting for a moment that this is the guy with the 2-up ward save to fire. So I was hoping to kind of skirt around and get into the side of some of the stuff over there, but he's pretty much going to hit the brakes on me and keep the Mornfang out of the game pretty much all game. Now here is where the money happens. I ended up restraining the Stonehorn's charge because I want to get the Iron Guts out of the way first and then send him sideways into the Saurus. But I got the charge. He couldn't stand and shoot because these are the guys with the javelins, so I was too close. So I'm going to just obliterate them, run right into the front of that ancient Stegodon there, and probably kill it on the charge. And we go into combat, and that's exactly what happens. I blow those guys away, and I hit that ancient Stegodon on a roll of a 10, so that kicks off Ogre Charge. So my 2 characters in the front there are getting D3 impact hits each, which is fantastic. My shooting was worthless, and he stopped everything I had magic-wise. I think he did have to use a Dispel Scroll at this point, though, so that was very, very good. And over here you see he did beat the Yetis down. I think I had one left with 1 wound on it after he was done, and so he ended up running them down and catching them after they broke. I needed insane bravery with a reroll, but that wasn't going to happen. So with that, we go into Lizardman turn, I think this might be 3. He charges his cowboy into the Mornfang, as I told you about, and again, that 2-up ward save, I'm just not going to get through it, so he's going to keep them tied up pretty much the whole time. He does charge the Saurus into the Ogres, which I'm worried. I think that's a big old block of Saurus warriors. They're going to get a lot of attacks on me. My hope is that they're going to end up at least delaying them a turn or 2 before they eventually get run down. They are close enough to Takron and Gat to get the Leadership 9 rerollable, so I'm hoping that's the case. And over here he brings in his other 2 Stegodons and his cold one here, which I think is amazing. I do have the impact hits here. I've got... I'm as good as I'm going to get, and I even have Wissen's Wild Form up on them from my last Magic phase, I think. So this is the best possible opportunity for me to fight this fight, so I feel very confident here. And then he marches the cold one out of the forest and takes a wound from dangerous terrain. So I do end up getting half points for this guy, which makes me happy. even though I really didn't do anything to earn it other than let him murder my Yetis so that he ended up overrunning into the forest to begin with. And the skinks here just come right up against the Iron Blaster so that they don't take any further penalties for long range. This point, he's probably going to die this turn, so I'm not expecting that. And here he brings up the other skinks to try and take out the Stonehorn via poison, which really is probably the best shot he's got there. He's There's nothing else that's really going to threaten it in combat, so I think if he is going to take it out, poison shooting it to death is about the only option. And I think he sees where I'm trying to go with it, so he wants to keep me away from those Saurus warriors. So he moves his Salon over, I guess, just to make sure he's got the leadership bubble and the rerollable to as many of his people as possible, and to make sure that if I do end up doing well here, that no one overruns into the Salon, because I do actually have magic weapons here, so I can hurt him. Plus, he's unstable and ethereal, so static combat res is his enemy. And here he brings around the other skinks, not pointing him at the Mornfang, but then again, he's in combat. So I think what he's doing here is he's going to go way down at the bottom and try and get my Lead Belchers, who I think rallied last turn. That sounds about right. And during Magic, he tried, I think it was Melkoff's on my Iron Gut unit, and the Rune Maw bounced that so that he had to put it on the normal ogres instead. So that was all he really got off magic-wise. In terms of shooting, as I predicted, these Chameleon Skinks just blew the Iron Blaster to Kingdom Come. Which, frankly, at this point, I'm willing to say good riddance. Though it's been decent in combat, the damn thing hasn't shot well at all the entire campaign, or the entire tournament. So, I'm not really losing much. And over here, all these skinks managed to get one wound on the Stonehorn, which I was very, very happy with. I'm hoping that Stonehorn will be able to get in and cause some trouble against somebody. And I can't really do that if these little nickel and dime shots deplete all my my wounds. My biggest problem here is that he's just got so many of these small units, and I just don't have enough units to turn around and deal with them. And here you see my Lead Belchers did rally. Actually, it might have been this turn that they rallied. But they turn around. That was from... Yeah, he flamed them again, so I lost one and took a wound on another one, but they actually held this time, so no more panic, which for ogres is kind of a surprise, as that's leadership 7. And yeah, I totally underestimated what my ogres could take, and those Saurus warriors chopped them apart. I killed 4 of the Saurus warriors, and he killed like half the unit of ogres, broke me because I needed insane bravery, and ran my ass down, which sucked. But hopefully I'm going to get some vengeance here in a few minutes. And then over here, the Saurus character did 1 wound to the Mornfang, and the Mornfang couldn't do anything back because he's got a 2-up save against all their attacks. And even if he didn't, I was kind of rolling like crap. I think I only did, between the attacks from everybody, I think I did 2 hits, and he easily saved them. Now here was awesome. He did a few wounds to me, but I butchered everything. I killed one of the Stegodons on the impact hits, and just showed him what kind of business the Iron Guts are in. I killed the other 2 in combat, did a wound to his Old Blood there, and forced the Old Blood to break because he needed insane bravery on 2 dice. And I chased his ass down and overran to that point. So I don't know what we're seeing. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is my turn. You can see the Iron Guts are off the board there because on my turn I declared a charge on his Skink Priest that was there, ran him down, and ran off the board. I think right now we were just measuring something. But the over here, I declared a charge with the Stonehorn against the Saurus, and he fled. So that's where the failed charge for the Stonehorn ends up, and the Saurus are actually fleeing at this point. And so in remaining moves, I keep moving my lead belchers up. I want to shoot these salamanders to death, but I'm hoping to get close enough so that their fire will be able to sort of jump over me. I know that's going to be hard being such a thick unit, but it's really the only defense they have because I know I'm one panic check at this point away from losing these guys. But I'm hoping I can get up there and the lead belchers will pump a couple of hundred rounds into them and deal with it. And during shooting, that's exactly what happens. I destroy the salamander on the left, as you can see, and nobody panics, obviously, but I'm definitely liking the momentum. I'm doing well here, and I'm killing things. And frankly, after the last game I had, I needed I needed this game to show me that the Ogres still had it in them. And over here in combat, which is the only combat we have right now, his source character does one more wound uh, to the Mournfang, and they don't do anything back, but we end up sticking. So Lizardman turn, you see where he's moved his Skink Priest, so he's way off to the side, but that's all the movement he had. In shooting, these skinks managed to poison the Stonehorn to death. I mean, it was stupid. He rolled like, I think he was rolling 10 hits, and he rolled 5 of them as 6s. So yeah, I had a 4-up save, but it wasn't enough to get the job done here. But I'm hoping it won't matter because I mean my next turn the Iron Guts come back on the field and we should be in good shape. And then in combat, the old bud finally realizes it's time to stop screwing around and turns around and murders the the Mournfang and then reforms to where you see him right there. So, on my turn, the Iron Guts come back on the board, and I move them right there, knowing that I'm going to have to deal with these Saurus. The Iron Guts have the Dragon Breath banner on, or the Dragon Hide banner on them. So that puts him right in range of it. So I end up landing using it, and getting about 12 hits, and I killed 5 of the, or 6 of the Saurus, I think, is there. But the much bigger thing is that now for the next turn, those Saurus have always strike last. So now when they charge into me, my characters are going to go first, and then everything else goes at the same initiative that the Iron Guts do, as well as their stomps. So I'm hoping to be able to just do a lot of damage without losing any further ogres, and we'll be in good shape. So that was the only thing I did that turn. So on his turn, he charges me with the Saurus. You see he moves over his Saurus character there to come into the flank. And the Slon just turns around, I guess, because he's going to try and do some magic to me there. But in shooting, he brings all of his poison upside. I end up just dispelling any magic he tried to throw. So his magic was a nil phase. It was a small dice. He brings over his poison guys here. As you can see, flames them down to 2 guys, and then pumps a crap ton of poison shots into the unit, which kills the unit. Which I guess is okay. I would have loved to have killed one more of those skink units and getting the extra points for the scenario, but given that sort of what they were up against, the lead belchers were definitely outmatched when it came to shooting. So The fact that they did as well as they did, and forced him to use that much of his shooting to come get them, I still feel pretty confident about. And over here, the Iron Guts show the Saurus warriors the true meaning of war. Um, I just beat the hell out of him. And he ends up escaping, which sucks because I really could have used that huge pool of points. Um, and I think my overrun was there. Um, I overrun, and then on my turn, turn 6, I charged and still failed to. Or no, I caught the Saurus Warriors. That's the skinks that turned to face me. Yep. So I did catch the Saurus Warriors when I declared a charge. And then bottom of his 6, he just surrounded me with all his shooting and couldn't thin down anything. All of his characters ran for the other side of the board in case I did something crazy, but that's where we stand. So when we totaled up the points, I ended up, as far as points killed, I had beaten him by about 500 points. Again, you might be wondering why this then says victory to the Lizardmen. Because it came down to the scenario. Um, I my saber tusks were just too easy to kill, and he killed all 3 of them, so he got the points for killing them. I lost the points for keeping them alive, uh, and I only killed one of his 3 smallest units, so I got very few points. And I don't remember what the other extra one is, but he got that as well, and I didn't. Um, oh, it was having core units above half strength. Um, and because those skink units are core units for him, each of those counted. And my Iron Guts came in at 1 wound lower than half strength. So I didn't get that. So he ended up getting about 1,000 points in scenario points. So he ended up turning it around and beating me by about 500 points. So victory did go to the Lizardmen, although in my brain I'm still counting this one as a win. um, it was hard, and it was a great battle. We both realized that it came down to one mistake. If he had sacrificed one of those salamanders to come in and do and essentially catch the overrun from the Iron Guts after they destroyed the skinks, I'd have been dead because I'd have taken 3 sets of impact hits from those stegodons, and that would have thinned me down. But because I had set that trap and he didn't see it until it was too late, the momentum there went for me. And once those monsters were dead, um, it was game to me. I was ready to go in and stomp everything else, so I felt very confident about that. And this was a very good game to end the tournament on. It made me feel good. Even though I didn't technically win because of the scenario points, I felt like it was a very good showing against a very tough opponent. And this was the fella who ended up coming in third. So um, I ended up basically by points beating the guy in third and fourth, and then got stomped by the guy that came in first. So I feel pretty good about that. Um, as far as the tournament goes, overall, I placed fifth by points, and I was only actually nudged out by about 100 points from the guy right ahead of me. So if I had actually kept one of the saber tusks alive in this game, I'd have been fourth. So that was kind of terrible. Um, I found out that the Warriors of Chaos player who stomped me, he actually voted me for his best sportsman. So I thought that was at least nice. If he was going to bend me over the table that hard, at least he acknowledged that I took it like a good sport. Um, and I ended up, as far as painting, by points coming in second. Second highest, but I had no conversions in the army. Everything was as it was, and there were some guys that had just some pretty awesome conversions. So that ended up rearranging the points a little bit. So I ended up coming in fourth in painting. So I was pretty happy with that. All in all, it was a fun tournament. My Bretonian friend Lord Alphonius, who if you've watched my battle reports, he brought his Bretonians to this event, and he ended up taking best sportsman. And seventh out of 10th was his placement. So we both had a good time. It was definitely a fun tournament for our first time, at least for me, with the possible exception of the second game. But the opponent I played was fun, so I can't really complain about that too much. Or rather, I guess I did and got it all out in my last video. But it's something I may consider doing again. There is definitely a big gap between sort of the play styles and the attitudes of these hardcore tournament guys and how I normally play. I do have to say, even though it does prove to me sort of where I fall, that I managed to play nothing but the hardcore tournament guys and still ended up coming in fifth. Um, but I kind of wish I had played some of the newer guys. I think they're kind of more my speed. The games would have been a little bit more what I'm used to. And there were some cool armies down there. I mean, there was a guy who was playing a Chaos Dwarf army that he was casting all himself, using any commercial models out of it, which I thought was pretty awesome. There was a very, very cool looking Empire army that ended up taking best painted. That was just, it was awesome. I mean, he actually, the guy's been playing for 30 some years and had the old, like the first run of Empire Knights that were so tiny. They look like halflings on ponies. It's pretty funny. But his army looked beautiful. There was another there was another Warriors of Chaos army from the guy who placed dead last, that was like a monster mash, just flying, like dual flying demon princes, but not a lot of magic. That just looked like a lot of fun to play against. That I kind of wish I had played. And a lot of these guys, I mean, we had people as far away as West Virginia come down, so several states away. So it's not like these are local guys who I'd get to play against. So I am a little sad I missed out on that, but all in all, it was a good tournament. Definitely a good showing for my first time. I'm very proud to have held my own for the most part against these fellas who have been. I mean, the guy who won, like I said, he stomped me in the second game, but he's been playing hardcore tournaments for 7 years, and he went to the U.S. Masters. Yeah, I mean, these were hardcore guys I played, and I would like to say I held my own, and I feel very proud of that fact. So, I had a good time, but I am glad it's over. It's going to be nice to get back to the more casual games. I know this week, Lord Alphonius and I have already set up to get back into one of our narrative games. And I'm going to have to put the Whitetooth Clan on the shelf for a while. Between all the practice games and the tournament itself, I am just wore out playing ogres. And I love them, and I'm not getting, like, stopping playing them for any reason, but I need a break. I have 3 armies for a reason. I fall into ruts very easily. So I'll be bringing the dwarves out for the next battle, and maybe getting some more demon action on later. But all in all, it was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this newbie's guide to his first tournament. And again, if you like what you saw, please subscribe, like the video below, and put any comments of anything that you'd like to talk about, anything you saw that was good, bad, indifferent. I always love chatting with folks about the videos and about the games in general. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you next time.